We just start by revising from sensitivity and scenario analysis. And I just want to start with this question, December 2022, question 1B. So let me just welcome you to our today's session and allow one of us to read the question kindly. And someone to go on to read our question. Don, can you read for us? Hello. Nobody was read the question? Beatrice, can you read the question for us, please?
The management of college publishers Limited has estimated the following initial cash outlays and net cash flows and probabilities for a new printing process in each case scenario. The year's worst case, most probable case, best case. The probability is given. Year 0 is the initial cost of the new printing process. Years 1 to 5 are the operating net cash flows, and year 5 is the estimated salvage value. The firm's cost of capital for a project of average risk is 13% per annum. Required, assuming that the above project has an average risk, compute the expected net present value of the project. Second one, a sensitivity analysis of the salvage value if this variable changes from the base case value plus or minus 80%. Assume that all cash flows are positive. Assume that all cash flows are positive, perfectly correlated, and that there are only 3 possible cash flow scenarios over time, namely worst case, most probable case, and best case, with probabilities of 0.2, 0.6, and 0.2 respectively.
Determine the project standard deviation of the net present value. Remember, that is also a question which you are being asked. Now, in that case, I can see here, the examiner has already given you the initial outlays and the net cash flows. And we know that when we have the net cash flows, what we are supposed to be doing. So in this regard, we are being given the worst case, most probable, and then we have the best case scenarios. Then we are being given the probabilities, which are going to be assisting us to get the expected net present values of the project. Then we are being told in year 0, the initial cost of the new printing process, years 1 to 5 are the operating net cash flows, and the year 5 is the estimated salvage value. When you look on the year 5, which have the star, it means that is our terminal cash flow. So already this is a question which is already calculated based on the processes which we normally use when we are computing the NPV. Now we are being told the firm's cost of capital of the average risk is 13%, and I just want to do and give you the solution for the first question. So let us go there and we see what we are supposed to be doing. So when we have these kind of problems, how are we supposed to be solving it? You are required to open the question from your end. Just open the question from your end and we see what we are supposed to be doing. Remember, already, because we have 3 states of nature, I will be able to start with the number 1, which we are discussing about the worst case scenario. So the worst case. So when you look at the worst case, the first thing that I just want to get is the NPV. How are we going to be getting our NPV, right? How are we going to be getting the NPV? And when you look on our question, when I look on the worst case, remember this is an annuity question, because already when you, the worst it is an annuity question, because the cash flows are similar. The cash flows of ours are similar. So in that case, it means that, for example, I will be able to take for the worst case, it will be 20,000. It will be 20,000 times the present value interest factor annuity. Right. Remember, our project already has when you look on the cost of capital given in the question, we are being given at the rate of 13%. We're given 13%. Our project takes 5 years, right? Then we add, we are going to be also factoring the salvage value, which we are going to be getting at the end of the the end of the project, which is 5,000, right? We multiply by the present value interest factor, 13%, 5 years. Remember, this is a lump sum because that amount you are going to be receiving them once minus our initial outlay. Our initial outlay is 100,000. We are going to be getting there. All right, we are going to be getting in that case. Then we go to the most probable, number 2. Most probable. I just want to finish here. You are giving me the answers. The most probable, we are discussing about also an annuity question whereby the annual net cash flows which you are being given is 30,000 times the present value interest factor annuity, 13%, 5 years. Plus now, when we look on the terminal cash flows given in the question, should be 20,000 times the present value interest factor, right? 13%, 5 years minus our initial outlay of 100,000. Minus our initial outlay of 100,000. Number 3, we are going to now to be checking on number 3. We are going to be checking on the best case. On the best case scenario. And in this case, we are also going to be calculating our NPV. The annual net cash flow given in the question, we are being given 40K. Times the present value interest factor annuity, 13%, 5 years. Plus, now when you look on the terminal cash flows, we are given as 30,000, which are going to be received once. So that is why we are using PFIF, 13%, 5 years, minus our initial outlay of 100,000, minus our initial outlay of 100,000. What will be our NPV? Someone to give me the NPVs here. Someone to give me the total NPV for each case scenario. Someone? Ale, let me give me the answer for worst case scenario. Beatrice, give me the answer for the most probable scenario. And someone else like Dawn, you can be able to give me the answer for the best case scenario. For the best case scenario, right? No answers? No answers, someone? What are the discount factors applicable? What are the discount factors which you're going to be using? For example, here, if you are using the table and someone else is using the formula, we said it is 1 over 1 plus r raised to negative n, you divide by r. And this one will be 1 plus rate to be raised to negative n. That is what we said. So in that case, it will be 20,000 times. Let me apply the 13% here, 0.13. And then here we put -5. We divide by 0.13. So it will be 1.13 I raised for -5. 1 minus answer, we divide it by 0.13. I think we should be getting 3.5172 plus 5,000 times, when you take 1.13, you raise for -5, you should be getting something closer to 0.5428. Even when you check in the table, should be the same, minus 100,000. So I just want to put this data on my calculator. 20,000 times 3.5172 plus 5,000 times 0.5428 minus 100,000 should be -26,942. The other one here, it will be direct because the discount factors are not now going to be changing. They will be the same. So I just need to take here 30,000 times 3.5172 plus 20,000 times 0.5428 minus 100,000. So hapa napata ngapi? It will be 30,000 times 3.5174 plus 20,000 times 0.5428 minus 100,000. I'm getting 16,348. 378, sorry. 16,378. Then the last one will be here. We take 40,000 times 3.5172 plus 30,000 times 0.5428 minus 100,000. How much is this? 40,000 times 3.5172 should be 7 to write. Plus 30,000 times 0.5428 minus 100,000. We should be getting something closer to 56,972. But remember, these are the NPVs. These are the NPVs. And the examiner needs you to get the expected NPV. So to get our expected NPV, we normally take the summation of NPV times the probabilities. And when you look at our question, we are being given probabilities, and then they are the ones which I'm going to be multiplying here with. I multiply the NPVs of ours with the probabilities. When I look at the probabilities provided, I can be able to see the first one now. The first probability in ngapi? Let me check here. The first probability is 0.2. 0.6, 0.2. So how much are we getting here? So negative, let me start with the last one, times 0.2. I'm getting 11,394.4. The second last will be 16,378 times 0.6, getting 9826.8. Then we have negative 26,942 times 0.2. Now I'm getting negative 53,88.4. 88.4. So once I get those answers here, now what am I supposed to be doing here? I'm supposed just to be taking the summation of those answers I've gotten, negative 53,88.4. Plus the other one is 9826.8 plus 11,394.4. So how much are we getting as our NPV? How much are we getting as our NPV? So plus 9826.8 plus 11,394.4. We should be getting something closer to 15,833. 15,833 is our expected NPV. Very good. Now, when I look on this is the requirement number 1, and it is already done up to that point. So I just want to go to requirement 2. So requirement 2 here, the examiner is asking us to do what? Under the requirement 2, we are being told that a sensitivity analysis of the salvage value if this variable changes from the base case value by plus or minus 80%. So when you look at it, there is a variance of 20% because the sensitivity analysis we have given is 80%. Can we work with the salvage? When we talk about the negative, it means we are dealing with the worst case. The negative, we are dealing with the worst case. So in this case, we just need to be looking on what are the changes of the 20%, because the difference is 20. The worst, we have already subtracted 20. What is the value for that 20%? And we say, when you look on the salvage value, we are going to be taking the 20%. Someone might not be able to know where the 20% is coming from. The 20% is 80, which you are being given in the question. 100 minus 80, you get the 20%. Because now we are looking on the worst case scenario. What are the changes of this salvage value, right? What is the change of the salvage value? And in this case, remember, in the worst case scenario, we are going to be basing our arguments, relying on we are going to be doing our variance when we consider the salvage value of our normal case, the most probable scenarios. So our normal probable scenario is 20,000, right? We are going to be basing our argument, not using the salvage value for the worst case normal, but we want to look on what are the changes from our normality, right, of our operations when we are at the worst case. That is why we want to look on the worst case scenario. And we have said, let us factor the salvage value of the most probable, which is our normal case now. And the answer for us here will be 4,000. So when we are calculating, because we just want to look on the changes in the NPV, we say, let me now calculate the NPV of mine when the salvage value for the worst case scenario is 4,000. So how much am I supposed to be getting here? I say that the net annual cash flows given under the worst case scenario is 20,000. We multiply it by 3.5174, right? Plus now, we are not going to be using the 500, but we use 5,000. We use now 4,000 times 0.5428 minus 100,000. How much are we getting there? How much are we getting? So in this case, it will be 20,000 times 3.5174 plus 4,000 times 0.5428 minus 100,000. Sorry, it will be 20,000 times 3.5174 plus 4,000 times 0.5428 minus 100,000. I'm supposed to be getting something closer to negative 27,481. 27,000, which is negative 481. That is the answer we are supposed to be getting. Now, when we go, because this was the negative, and we are analyzing our salvage values using the negative of 80%. So in this case, it will be, when you go to the best case now, right? The salvage of ours, which is our normal salvage value, which we are discussing about the 20%, we are going now to be taking 100%. It will be 100% plus 80%, and in this case, we get 180%. 180%. So in this case, if it is a 180%, we multiply by 4. Is it 40? No. We are talking about the 20,000, which is our salvage value, 20,000. What will be the changes of the salvage value under the best case scenario when we factor the positive and negative? And in this case, because we are discussing about the positive 80, so it will be 1.8 times 20,000, getting around 36. The salvage in this case will be that 6,000. That 6,000. So when it is that 6,000, I know that you are able to finish the upper parts. If it is that 6,000, what will be the NPV now? If the salvage value in this case changes from the current 30 to that 6, because I know the best case was having the salvage of 30, now it's at 6. What will be the NPV for the new consideration? So we say, let us take the cash flows right? The cash flow for the most probable, the best case, it should be 40K times 3.5172 plus, here we are discussing about 30. So when you factor the 80%, the salvage value now will be 36,000 times, you are multiplying with what? You are multiplying with 0.5428 minus 100,000. How much is this? How much is that? So in this case, I just say 40,000 times 3.5174 plus 36,000, right, times 0.5428 minus 100,000. We are getting around 237. 237. So in this case, remember, I just want you to look for the percentage change. That's nothing different from what we calculated. So let us look on the percentage changes. And I'm going to be starting with the worst case scenario, right? The worst case scenario. The worst case scenario, right? The worst case scenario. What is our percentage case? Percentage change. The percentage change we are going to be using, because we normally talk about the new minus the holds. Remember, in our scenario here, we are discussing about our most probable being the normal, which is our normal scenario which we are in. So when you are calculating for these cases, what you are supposed to be doing for your point, you say the NPV for the most probable we got up around 16,000. I don't know how much it was, but let me copy what I have. 16,372. We subtract the new changes, and the first one is 27,400. Where is it? 27,481. We divide it by 16,372 times 100%. Times 100%. How much are we getting? What is the proportion are you getting? So in this case, it will be, right? In this case, it will be, let me just check. Okay, it will be just 1 minute. Let me just confirm something. So that negative 27,481 minus 16. So let me just choose the one which we did last time, and I see whether I can be able to get the same answer. So let me try. So we are discussing about the new. Our new should be negative 27,481. We subtract our 16. I said, let me use 16,372. That is what I have. Right. We take the whole minus new, we divide by whole, which is negative, which is 16,372. Then we multiply by 100%. Let me see how much am I getting. So in this case, we are getting how much? 481 minus 16,372 divided by 16,372. Right? When you multiply by 100, we should be getting around negative 268%. This is the decrease. It should be looking like that, so that I don't want to confuse you with the formula which I wrote for you. Then for the other one, because we are doing for the 2 case scenarios, we have done for the worst and then for the best. For the percentage changes, when we are looking at it, our new is 36,000. Minus our old, we are using, let me use the same figure, we are using 16,372 divided by 16,372 times 100%. How much are we getting? How much are we getting? So in this case, we should be getting how much? How much are we supposed to? This is wrong. How much is our NPV? Our NPV was how much? Let me check for the NPV for the best case scenario was how much? I think the one which we have up there. Okay. For the best case scenario, are we getting 60,000? Someone to confirm kindly. Someone to confirm the answer which I got here for the NPV. Is it 60?
56,972.
56?
972.
56.
Wait, which one?
You're not sure?
No. Wait.
Oh, okay.
It is 6228.8.
So I'm right, huh?
Yes.
6229. So let me put that figure here. Right, 6229 minus 100,000. So minus 16,372 divided by 16,372. Correct. Here we should also be getting 268%, which is an increase. Which is an increase. Yes, it should be looking like that. That should be the answer now. I can see Don is getting in with almost 5 phones. Okay. So remember the question was asking us about what? The sensitivity analysis. And we said, when you're calculating the sensitivity, we need to be calculating the sensitivity ratios. There is a change in 80% mark, and we can see that when we are going to be making those variables, there will be an increase and decrease by a certain proportion, but it will be equal. The proportion of changing from the best to the worst case scenario, the proportion for the sensitivity ratios will be the same, and that is what we have been we have gotten down there. That is what we have gotten down there. The next thing that I just want to do is the standard deviation of the NPV, which is our part 3. The standard deviation of the NPV. Let's do that one. The standard deviation, that is why I said you need to do a lot of questions. Don't wait for the last minutes. So number 3, we are talking about the standard deviation. And we say to get our standard deviation, we need to be taking the root of the summation of NPV minus expected NPV squared multiplied by probability. Multiplied by the probability. Someone to remind me, the NPVs in tulipata hapa. How much are the NPVs? Let me start with the worst, most probable, and the best. What are the NPVs tulipata? Hello? The first one is the NPVs.
Negative.
Sorry?
Negative 26,942.
Negative?
26,942.
The most probable?
16,378.
The best?
56,972.
Then what was our expected NPV? The expected NPV ilikuwa ngapi?
15,833. 833.
Come again, please.
15,833. 15,833.
Correct. Squared times the probabilities. I think this should be 0.20. 15,833 squared times 0.60. Then the last one will be 15,833 squared times 0.20. How much are we getting here? How much are we getting? For example, the first one will be negative 26, 942 minus 15, 833 squared times the probability of hours is 0.20, getting 365,000, 365, 940, 125. The other one will be 16, 378 minus 15, 833 squared times 0.6. You're getting around 178, 215. The other one will be 56, 972 minus 15, 833 squared times 0.20, right? Getting 338, 483, 464. What is the total here? This is our total. 148, 215, plus 365. Sorry?
Excuse me, Mwalimu.
Hello?
The NPV, the expected NPV for the worst case scenario, is it really 15 or was it 5388.7?
58? No, we need the
I thought
expected NPV of the whole project, not per the scenario. The whole project, the expected NPV for the whole, you calculate up. Was it 15,833?
Oh, awesome.
When you take these values,
Yes,
you
yes.
multiply by the probabilities you want.
It was.
Thank you. Okay. That is the one that you use. Okay. 704, 601, 804. So what is the root for this? To get the standard deviation of our answer, we have talked about 704, 601, 804. We are getting how much? The root of answer, we get around 26,544. 26,544. 544. So I think up to that point we are good. Up to that point we are good. Up to that point we are good. Now, because I don't want to waste a lot of time, I know that we are writing. Don't. Good evening.
Evening, sir.
I can see you have a lot of dons. Who are you have shared our link with? You can see we have dons 3 or 4.
I've tried logging in several.
Okay. Have you used different devices?
Yes, I'm using a laptop and a phone.
Okay. So up to that point now, we can have an agreement. We have done a good question. I have already given you an assignment, which I'm here to see, but I will not be able to question much about the assignment right now because I just want to rush and finish what is remaining here. I just want to go to the 5th technique of answering risk. And I remember that the 5th technique of answering risk, we are discussing about Irene, what is our 5th technique of handling risk? Which is our 5th one? Which is our 5th one? The 5th one? We talk about risk adjusted, discounted. Risk adjusted discounted rate, risk adjusted discounted rates, and it is normally called RA. Sometimes they normally ask it as a theory, because we are saying that when we are using the risk adjusted, the discounted rate, each project is saying, each project is equivalent Each project is equivalent using project specific. Project specific. Specific, it should be using the specific cost of capital. Using the specific cost of capital, which is unique. Which is unique based on its risk. So every state of nature we are going to be having here, we are going just to be using different cost of capitals because they are going to be a specific cost of capital used. And therefore, the risk adjusted discounted rate is that doesn't have much, most of the things to consider. Let me just look on something different. The next one, because that is just an explanation it needs. The next one should be certainty. Certainty equivalent. Certainty equivalent coefficients. Na imetestiwa juzi. So this is CEC, right? And we say under this technique, we eliminate, under this technique, we normally eliminate the risk from the cash flows. We normally eliminate the risk from the cash flows. We normally eliminate the risk from the cash flows by multiplying the cash flows. By multiplying the cash flows. By multiplying the cash flows with certainty factor. With certainty factor, so CC is normally called CC. So we can call it also certainty factor. And we say the risk-free cash flows the risk-free cash flows are then discounted. The risk-free cash flows are then discounted using risk-free rate of return. Risk-free of return. Remember, when you are doing all these questions, never forget the formula to get the NPV. We normally take the present value of the cash inflows minus our initial fee. But in this case, we just want to ask ourselves, are we going to be getting the present value of the cash inflow in this case? And I say, we normally take the cash flows. We multiply them with CEC. We remove the risk existing, right? We divide by the riskless cash flows. Sorry. These two, you normally get something called riskless cash flows. Then you multiply by the present value interest factor. The present value interest factor, RF. Because we are going to be discounting using the risk-free rate of return. We are going to be discounting using the risk-free rate of return, I just want to do a question here, which they have brought the other here. This question was brought on August. The question was brought on August 2022. Let us go there so that we can be able to see how they test these questions for CEC. The August 2022. Sorry?
Yeah.
Someone is talking to us. Who is reading kindly? Question 1A. Question 1A. Please, someone.
of 500,000. I'm ready.
Okay, go on.
A project requires an initial investment of 500,000. It is expected to generate cash inflows of 200,000 per annum for the next 5 years. Additional information: the firm is indifferent between a certain amount of 181,347 at the end of the first year and the expected amount of 200,000. The risk-free rate of return is 5% per annum. Required: the net present value of the project incorporating certainty equivalent coefficient, CEC. 2, advise the management on whether the project is worthwhile.
Thank you so much. You can see we are already being given 6 marks, and these marks, 6 marks should be handled with a bit of care so that you can be able to score all of them. So I just want to show you how you have to do that kind of a question. How am I supposed to be handling this kind of a question? Let me just show you how you should. Now, when I look on that question, I will be able to find that the first stage, when I'm doing the question of the CEC, is the computation, because it is not provided, but you can be able to get it. So the biggest question is, how do I have to get my CEC to remove the risk from the cash flows provided? And I will say, to get to a CEC, you normally take certainty amount, we divide by expected, cash flows. We divide by the expected cash flows. So when I look on the question here, I will be able to see that this examiner has already given us the certainty amount, because under the additional information number 1, we are being told the firm is indifferent between a certain amount of 181,387 at the end of the first year, and the expected amount is 200,000. So from that case, I just need to take 181,347, you divide by 200,000. You divide by 200,000. 181, right? 181,347, you divide by 200,000. You should be getting a CEC of 0.9067. 0.9067. But when I look on the question where it is started, we are being told the project requires an initial investment of 500,000, but it is expected to generate cash inflows of 200,000 per annum for the next 5 years. So what am I supposed to be doing? You normally come and you take the number of years and you look for your discount factors, correct? So this is what you normally do. So in that case, remember we have 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, and year 5. Then remember we have our CEC, which already we have to incorporate each year, right? So in this case, it's like you are determining, you are doing compounding. So our CEC will be, the first one will be 0.9067, then you raise to power 1. The second one will be 0.9067, you raise to power 2, 0.9067, you raise to power 3, 0.9067, I think you are able to see, 0.9067, you raise to power 5. How much are we getting here? These are the CECs which you are supposed to be using to remove the risk existing in the cash flows, so that you can be able to arrive to the riskless cash flows. So the first one, I don't need to use a calculator. It will be 0.9067. The second one will be 0.9067. You raise power 2, getting around 0.822, 221. Let me just go to raise power 3, getting 0.74, 7454. The other one will be, we raise power 4, 0.67, 0.6759. Then the last one, which is 5, you're going to be getting 0.6128. That is the discount factors which you are going to be using to remove the risk existing on the cash flows given. But when I look on the cash flows, we are being told the cash flows which you are going to be having each year, our cash flows every year, year 1, 200,000, year 2, 200,000, year 3, 200,000, year 4, 200,000, year 5, 200,000. Let us calculate our riskless cash flows, the riskless cash flows, before we discount them, right? Now, let me start with the first one, 0.9067 times 200,000. We get around 1 into 1, 340. The second one will be 0.8221 times 200,000, getting 164, 420. The other one we have 0.7454 times 200,000, getting 149, 080. The other one will be 0.6759 times 200,000, getting 135, 180. Then the last one will be 0.6128 times 200,000. We are getting 122, 560. We said once we get all these, once we get the riskless cash flows, then we can be able to discount using the risk-free rate of return to get the present values. So in this case, we say, let us use the present value interest factor at which rate? The rate which you have been given as per the risk-free rate of return, you have been given 5%. 5%, so that we can be able to arrive to our present values. This, you know, the formula is 1 plus R, we raise for negative n. So let me start with the first one, 1.05, I raise for negative 1. Here we are getting 0.9524. The second one will be number 2, 0.9070. Number 3, 0.8638. Let's go to year 4. We get around 0.8227. Then the last one, which is year 5, we get 0.7835. What is our present value? Let me start with the first one. The first one is 1 into 1, 340 times 0.9524. I'm getting around 172,708. Let me just ignore the decimals. 164,420 times 0.9070, getting around 149, 129. The other one we are talking about 149,080. 149,080. We multiply it by 0.8638. You're getting around 128, 128,775. Then the last one, the second last will be 135,180 times 0.8227, getting 111, 213. The last one now, 122,560 times 0.7835, getting 96,000, 96,028. You just need to get your summation. How much is your summation there? So that you can be able to get the present value. Let me check if you are able to see. Okay, very good. So I just want to get the summation. And when I get my summation here, remember we are calculating our NPV. So let me remove this. We have already done it. So what is our present value, the present value of the cash inflows? How much is our present value of the cash inflows? So it will be, I just need to get that summation. So 96,026, 96,026. This should be 26, not 8. So 96,026 plus 111,213 plus 128,775 plus 149,129 plus 172,708. We are getting this one as 657,851 minus our initial claim. What is the initial cost of the project? What is our initial cost of the project? Okay, correct. Thank you. Correct. Thank you, Sarah. The initial cost of the project should be how much? I can see we are being told it is 500,000. The initial outlay of ours is 500,000. So how much is our NPV? It should be Kenya shillings 157,851. 851. So what is the comment are you supposed to be advising the management? Advise the management whether the project is worthwhile. You say the project is worthwhile. The project is worthwhile. The project is worthwhile since our NPV is positive. Since our NPV is positive. That is how you normally get your 6 marks. That is how you normally get your 6 marks. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Any question? Any question? See, we don't have questions, but when I'm asking for you to do my question, nobody is willing to do the assignments because I'm here to receive some, sorry. I don't know what is the challenge. Nobody has called, texted or something. So let us not think that we'll be able to accommodate all of these in the last week. It will be hectic. So let me see what is remaining here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Where are we supposed to send our assignments to, please?
You are supposed to be sending them whether you can send them directly to me.
On WhatsApp?
On WhatsApp, yes.
I had sent mine.
Who is talking now? Sarah, okay, I will check. And I think I responded to that. If I have not responded today, I will.
Okay.
Yes. Now, there is only one which is remaining here, and we are discussing about the utility analysis. And, we have said, I have given some notes there which you can be able to go through them, and the notes are already in my screen regarding to the utility analysis. I have said utility generally refer to satisfaction, which is derived from the consumption of our products or service, and utility the next in the context of capital investment appraisal. In the context, it should be in the context of capital investment appraisal is defined as the satisfaction derived from a given course of actions such as investment actions. So the proponents of this theory believe that utility can be quantified. We are saying that it can be measured in terms of the utilities. This assumption, however, is not realistic in practice, and hence the shortcomings of the theory. So the concept of utility analysis provides a framework upon which to classify investors into different categories depending on their risk attitude. And we have said investors can be classified into 3. And these are the things which I've already, and you can be able to bear me witness, I have been in a position to assist you to come across. So those ones I will not be able to engage much, but allow me to look on the capital rationing, because we are talking about incorporating capital rationing in capital budgeting. And I remember that when we were doing section 3, this is a topic already we checked on. And the capital budgeting, I have already, with the capital rationing, we are saying it normally refer to the capital in simple terms. It normally refer to capital limitation, and in that case, we normally say it is where the firm is unable to undertake all the projects with a positive NPV due to the limited funds. Remember, in this scenario, we are not going to be undertaking all our projects with a positive NPV due to the limitations of the resources which we have as an organization. And then we are saying it can be, when we look at it, it can be either be classified into, sometimes we normally discuss about external, and it can be caused by the factors which are beyond the management's control, where we normally discuss about the external stroke, the capital rationing, or internal factors which are normally involved by or influenced by management decisions, which we normally call the soft capital rationing. And those are the things which have been put down there. So mostly the most cases which we are going to be using, and the reason that why we have to be checking on it is very important, because the soft and hard are mostly tested in your exams, and you should already be able to read the notes. For example, I have said that the soft, this is also referred to the internal capital rationing, and the capital limitation is caused by the internal factors. They have given you the reason for that. When you go to the hard capital rationing, I've said it's also known as the external capital rationing. In this case, the capital limitation is caused by the external factors that are beyond the organization's control. Now, when you look on the multi-period capital rationing with divisible projects, this is a question which was able to come on which was brought on December 2022, is just the other day, not the December 2022, it should not in that period. But this question was brought on May 2021. Let me check here. It should be May 2021, question 1B, talking about the limitations of the divisible and indivisible projects. And the question was earning us a very good marks. So when you look at it, we are saying when the capital limitation extends over a series of years, or even indefinitely, then that gives rise to what is referred to as multi-period capital rationing. In this case, the NPV method alone cannot be enough to decide on what fraction of each investment to undertake. Assuming that there are only two capital investments which are divisible, and that the capital limitation extends over the series of the years, then optimizing techniques such as linear programming shall be applied together with the NPV in order to determine the fraction of each investment to undertake to maximize our NPV. In simpler terms, when we talk about a project being divisible, it means we can be able to rank our projects using the profitability index. When we do them, then we are going to be investing a lot of our money based on the best project all the way until you utilize the available resources. But when we discuss about the indivisible, it means that we normally have the options. We cannot be able to take part of the project. It only requires you to undertake one project, right? It means that you have to undertake the project fully, but it can't take a project partially. But under the divisible projects, you can take partial or part of the project. But in indivisible is either you take a project fully or you leave it. That is the difference. That is the difference. All this information I've already given you here. It already provides you with a lot of it is just going to be elaborating much about what you're supposed to be doing before we come to the evaluation of projects of unequal lives. So before we reach there, I just want us to do an illustration, because I know that we cannot be able to brush everything for that topic. So let us just do this question. Tomorrow we will be able to finish up with the remaining part of the topic. And on Friday, I'm announcing we are still going to be having the advanced financial management, to make sure this week we are done with that topic, and then we have already started a different topic. Just get sure and you announce to your WhatsApp group that on Friday we are going to have advanced financial management. But before we reach there, let us do an illustration for the capital budgeting, and we see how these questions are basically set. Who is willing to read for us, please? Okay, yes, the question is here with us. Someone? Someone read the question, please.
Can I read again?
Okay, go on.
You have been appointed by Biosoft Limited to review three investment project proposals. The investment funds are limited to 8 million in the current financial year. Details of investment projects, none of which can be delayed, are given below. Project 1, an investment of 3 million in workstation assessments. Each assessment will be given, will be on an individual employee basis and will lead to a saving in labor cost from increased efficiency and reduced absenteeism. In money terms, the savings in labor cost are expected to be as follows. Year cash flow, year 1, 850, year 2, 900, year 3, 950, year 4, 1,000, year 5, 950. Project 2, an investment of 4,500,000 in an individual workstation for staff that is expected to reduce administration cost by 1,408,000 per annum in money terms for the next 5 years. Project 3, an investment of 4,500,000 in new ticket machine. A net cash savings of 1,200,000 per annum is expected in current money terms, and is projected to increase by 3.6% per annum due to inflation during the 5 years life of the machine. The money cost of capital for Biosoft Limited is 12% required. Advise the company on the projects to invest the available fund and calculate the resultant net present value, assuming the 3 projects are divisible.
2, none of the projects is divisible. Remember, those are the options. But remember, when you are given this kind of a question, right? When you are given this kind of question, the first thing that you need to do for the 3 scenarios, you need to calculate the NPV of the project. Now, because you cannot be able to, because we have been told, advise the company of the project so to invest the available funds. How much do we have? We are being told that the investment funds are limited to 8 million Kenya shillings. All right, to that point, allow me just to calculate the NPV of each project. Allow me to do that, please. Let us start with project 1. So what is our NPV? It means examiner has already given us a good information here, where he says an investment of 3 million Kenya shillings in workstation assessments. Each assessment will be on an individual employee basis and will lead to a saving in labor costs from increased efficiency and reduced absenteeism. In most terms, the savings in labor costs are expected to be as follows. So when you look at it in project 1, it means already we are given some cash flows here. So I will start with years. We have cash flow. Correct. So we have year 1, 2, 3, year 4, and year 5. The cash flows provided in thousands of shillings again. So let me just limit here our shillings to thousands. The first one would be 850. We have 900, right? We have 950, 1,950, correct? Then already we have our discount factor, at which rate we are given at the rate of 12%. Then you determine your present value. you determine your present value. In this case, let me just use the formula, because when I'm using the formula, I find it easy for me. I just don't need to go to the, I don't want to go to the tables. So I just need to take 1.12, we raise to a -1, and I get 0.8929. The second one will be how much? 0.79. Okay, the third one will be 0.77118. We go to year 4, we get 0.6355. Then the last one for year 5, you're getting 0.5674. Just multiply with your cash flow to get the present value. The first one will be 850 times 0.8929. We get around, allow me to round for two numbers. This will be 759. The other one will be 900 times 0.7972, 717. The third one will be 950 times 0.7118, get 676. The other one will be 0.6355 times 1000. We're getting a simple ones of 636. Then the last one will be 0.5674 times 950, getting 539. Let us get the present value of the cash inflow. How much are we getting here? Let us do our summation. The first one is 759 plus 717 plus 676 plus 636 plus 539, getting around 3327. When you look on the initial outlay of project 1, you are being given 3,000. What is your NPV here? We say our NPV is 327. 327. That is our NPV. Now let us go to project 2. And the setup for project 2, you will be able to find that the question is being drafted differently. An investment of 4.5 million in a Dividend workstation for staff that is expected to reduce administration cost to 1408 per annum in money terms for the next 5 years. So remember, the cash flows of ours, which we are being given in that question per year, we are being given 1408 times the present value interest factor. We are this annuity, sorry, because we are going to be saving 1408 per year. 12% 5 years, 12% 5 years minus our initial outlay, which we are discussing as 4,500. If you use the formula which I've already given you severally about the annuity, you'll be able to arrive into what? So 1.12, that is for -5, 1 minus answer we divide by 0.12, getting around 3.6048. So let us get our NPV here. How much is our NPV? It will be 1408 times 3.6048 minus 4,500, and I'm getting 576. I'm getting 576. Let us go to project 3. How much is our project 3? And we say, under the project 3, we also be told an investment of 4.5 shillings in the new ticket machine, a net cash flow savings of 1.2 million per annum is expected in the current money terms, and that is where the examiner draws the line, because already he has not given us the future value. In the current money terms, they are given us the present value. We have to determine the future, and it's projected to increase by 3.6% per annum due to inflation during the 5 years life of the machine. So am I supposed to be factoring this? Very simple. We have year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then it means already the examiner has given you the cash flows, which you are supposed to be factoring what? You're supposed to be factoring inflation. So we are going to be taking 1,200. Remember this, we are going to be raising 1,200, we raise to power, and this we have been told in the current money terms, and it is going to be increasing from the next period. So in this case, the first cash flow of ours should be 1,200. Let me just put it direct. Then for year 2, it will be how much? For year 2, it will be how much? So in this case, it will be 1,200, right? 1.03, because we have been told that we factor the inflation per annum. We have been told that, the 1,200 per annum is expecting the current money terms. It means that factors year 1. Then from year 2, we are going to be affected by the inflation. Our inflation will be 3.6%. That is where I'm just want to factor in here, 3.6, right? And this will be happening, you rate just for power 2, correct? You're going to be getting your answer there. Then the third one, the second one will be how much? So it will be 12, let me just do it directly, times 1.036, we raise to power 2. You're getting around 1288. Will allow me to use whole numbers. The other one will be 1,200. 1.036 we raise to power 3, right? So let me just raise here. Raise to power 3. It will be 1334. Yeah, here will be 1,200. 1.036 we raise to power 4. Okay, how much is this? 1382. The last one will be 1,200. 1.036 raised to power 5. How much is this? Okay, 1432. 1432. 1432. Then after you finish that, discount. What is our discount factors at the rate of 2%? Our discount factors, are they going to be changing? We say no. We're just going to be copying from what we have gotten there. 0.8929, 0.7972, 0.7118. We have 0.36. Am I okay? No. So discount factors are the rate of 10%. So the first one I've said is 0.8929, 0.7972, 0.7118, 0.6355, 0.5674. Correct. Then you get our present value here. What will be the first one? It will be 1,200 times 0.8929, getting 1071. The second one will be 1288 times 0.7972, getting 1027. The other one will be 1334 times 0.7118, 950. 1382, the Nitisha Rusa, 0.6355. We are getting 878. Then the last one, 0.5674 times 1432. We are supposed to be getting 813. How much is our total here? 1071 plus 1027 plus 950 plus 878 plus 813. I can see we are getting 4739. Let's subtract our initial outlay of 45, and then we are getting around 239 as our NPV. 239 is our NPV. 239 is our NPV. 239 is our NPV. 239 is our NPV. Now, it is very good because we just want to rank these projects and determine which one is best than the other, so that we can calculate based on the condition provided by the examiner. So let me just look on the projects and remember, I can be able to do my question. Let me just use PI, right? The profitability index. Because we say to get our PI, we normally take the present value of the cash inflow, you divide by the initial claim. Let us start with project 1. So the project 1 will be 3327, you divide it by 3000. Project 2 will be, what is the answer for this? Right, these two now. What is the answer for that? That is your present, the present value of the cash inflows. What is the answer for that? It will be 14. That one you have to do on your calculator times 3.6048. I'm getting something closer to 5076. Initial play yake ni 4500. Project 3. Project 3, we take 4739, we divide by 45. So let me start with the first one, 3327 divided by 3000. We get 1.11. The second one will be 5076 divided by 4500. We are getting 1.13. Then the last one will be 4739 divided by 4500, getting 1.05. These are your PIs. Rank them. Rank them very quickly. Which one is number 1? Which is number 2? Which is number 3? And when you look at it, this is number 1. This is the best project because it has the highest PI. This is number 2, and this is number 3. Correct? So once you get up to that point and determining the best project, which you're supposed to be investing our initial outlay, we are going to be factoring something called accepted projects. So the projects we are accepting the based on our rankings. We are accepting them based on our rankings. And remember we have 213. And never forget the amount that you have for investment. So let us look on the initial outlay required for these projects. And I'll be able to see, because already I have money, 8 million to invest on 3 different projects. You can see all of them, they can be invested because they are guaranteeing us to, they are giving us they are giving us something regarding to, they are giving us a positive NPV. So from that incidence, it is very important to understand that we can undertake, but not all of them, because we don't have equivalent. Because the initial play requires 45, and I have seen the other one is 3,000. That is more than the amount that the available funds. So let us invest the money, the full money, to the project which is giving you the highest return. And this one we are going to be investing with 4,500, right? Then project 1 requires us to invest, which is the second best. It requires to invest 3 million, right? Then the remaining balance we can invest, because this is when we discuss about divisible projects, right? So the part of we can take part of project 3, sorry, with the remaining funds, which is 500. The total for these should be the available funds, which is 8 million. The available funds of ours is 8 million. Now, let us look on the NPVs here. Remember, the NPV for project 2 we have already calculated, which is around 576. Project 1 was around 327, but we have the challenge with project 3. What is the challenge here? The challenge will be coming from what is the NPV required for project 3, considering that we have not invested for 45, but the only available funds is 5,000. To calculate the NPV of such kind of a project, you normally take the available resources, right? We normally take the available resources. We have said 500 is what is available. We divide it by the amounts which are required to invest in project 3. Remember, project 3 requires to invest 45, but since it may afford only 4,500, then you multiply by 100%. That is how you can be able to get the NPV of that. So in this case, it will be, let me see whether it is possible. It will be 500 times, it is not the way, by the way, we are not going to be getting that, but I'll show you. 500 divided by 4,500, we are getting around 11.11%, right? 11.11%. But the 100% NPV, the 100% of our investment is going to be giving us 539. See, not at only, we are just in need of 500 shillings only. So here we multiply by our current NPV, which is 239, right? Which is 239. How much is our NPV here? We say we multiply by 239, and we can be able to get 26.55. 26.55. I know that you can be able to get this proportion, then prorate this NPV of ours for project 3 to determine how much is the NPV for the available resources of 500. How much is that? And that is why we were able to arrive at 26.55. So in that case, let us get the total NPV. The total NPV of our project. So it will be 26.55 plus 327 plus 576. And in this case, we are getting around 930. 930. We can be able to get something closer to that. Something to that. Okay. That is okay. Now, from there, I just want to do the part 2. That was part 1. Because the part 1, we have been told about the divisible projects. What about indivisible? Unafanyanga aje when you don't have indivisible projects? And this is what you normally do. It is very simple. From the rankings of ours, to invest based on the projects which we can undertake fully. Zile project undertake fully, you need to invest. And how is that being done? It is very simple. We just need to do this. I say, remember the best projects, right? We are saying part 2, if none of the projects is divisible. Right? So take your projects here. We have the best 2. We can only take 2 and 1 fully. So we have our initial 3 here. They just did this one is 45 and this is 3,000. The total which we can be able to invest on those projects is 7,500. Then we have our NPVs for the 2 projects which we can be able to undertake. The first one is 576. The second one is 327. Right? So you have 576 plus 327, getting 903, which is your NPV. So remember that we have a surplus. If the projects are indivisible, then you are going to be remaining with a small surplus. And in this case, we can say our surplus, we have a surplus of 500 cash. We have a surplus, which cannot be invested in project 3, because we can either take it fully or we leave the projects. You can either take fully or we leave that project. We don't just want to undertake a project which we can't undertake fully. So up to that point, I just request we stop. Because we cannot do anything now and finish. But I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be able to manage or maintain time, and we start our class at 8, so that I can be able to brush that topic, and on Friday we do a new topic. Any question after that point?